Have you been feeling a subtle stillness in the air, like the moment right before a wave crashes on the shore? There's a unique hush unfolding right now, not in your imagination, but in the collective energetic field. This isn't the kind of quiet that comes from peace or resolution, but rather the sacred pause that signals a transition. It's as if the universe is taking a deep breath. We're standing on the edge of a frequency shift as the sun prepares to leave Taurus and enter Gemini, and this moment in between, this cosmic liminal space, is full of encoded guidance. While the shift may seem small from a linear perspective, it carries powerful vibrational consequences. Taurus, with its steady, earthy energy, held us in grounded simplicity. But now, the energy begins to quiver with anticipation, like static in the air before a storm. What we are witnessing isn't merely an astrological checkpoint, it's a vibrational reorientation. This subtle yet profound change invites your attention to turn inward as much as it turns upward. In Taurus season, we were asked to slow down, root into our senses, and attune to the rhythms of the earth. Now, with Gemini's arrival, the energetic tempo begins to rise. This transition activates the mental realms, signaling a collective push into thought, curiosity, movement, and multidimensional perception. But for those who are energetically sensitive, this acceleration can feel jarring. It's not just a seasonal change, it's a frequency update. And as we stand on this threshold, we are being invited to not only notice the change but to feel it deeply, so we can ride the wave consciously rather than be swept away by it. Heightened sensitivity begins. As the sun fully steps into Gemini, many empaths, intuitives, and energetically aware individuals begin to feel an amplified sense of mental and emotional stimulation. It's as though the volume on the collective thought stream has been turned all the way up. Conversations quicken, social energy surges, and thoughts, both your own and those of others, become louder and more intrusive. But what may appear as social busyness on the surface is, underneath, an intensification of the vibrational frequency of mental energy. This sudden acceleration can create a dissonance within the sensitive nervous system. The body starts responding to this energetic influx before the mind even catches up. Tight shoulders, fatigue, buzzing thoughts, and a general sense of overstimulation are common now. You might find yourself feeling overwhelmed after brief interactions or needing longer recovery periods after routine conversations. These are not personality quirks or signs of introversion. They are intuitive responses to the invisible frequencies swirling through the air. For empaths especially, this period is less about engaging with others and more about managing the influx of energetic information. It's important to remember that heightened sensitivity is not a flaw. It's a finely tuned instrument of perception. What you are experiencing is not hypersensitivity, but intuitive attunement at a soul level. Your body, emotions, and energy field are serving as antennas for collective information, picking up emotional textures and subtle vibrations from people, environments, and even digital interactions. If you feel exhausted by social dynamics or mentally scattered despite a lack of physical exertion, it's likely because your system is trying to process input that others may not even notice. In this heightened energetic state, rest, solitude, and conscious energetic boundaries become spiritual tools, not luxuries but necessities. Trust that this heightened awareness is not a burden. It's a signal that you are expanding in perception and aligning with a deeper, more refined level of consciousness. Gemini season, words versus vibration. Gemini, ruled by Mercury, is the archetype of the messenger. It governs communication, thought patterns, perception, language, and storytelling. When the sun enters this sign, the collective field becomes infused with an urge to talk, connect, learn, and share. On the surface, this can feel invigorating, a sudden boost of social energy, witty banter, and curious exploration. But for spiritually sensitive beings, there's an invisible layer to all this communication that begins to take center stage. It becomes painfully clear that many words are empty, many conversations are performative, and many messages carry a frequency that doesn't match the language being spoken. This dissonance between spoken words and their vibrational truth is what begins to create discomfort, not just emotionally, but energetically. As an empath or intuitively aware person, You may notice yourself pulling away from people or media that you once enjoyed. It's not because you've become disinterested or antisocial, but because you are beginning to perceive the energetic weight behind every sentence, post, or interaction. In Gemini season, more people are talking, but not necessarily saying anything that feels true. The real work of this time is not in what is spoken, but in what is felt behind the words. Vibrational language is becoming your primary mode of communication. You're not just listening with your ears, you're listening with your energy field. Does this person's frequency feel honest, or are they speaking from ego? Is this conversation nourishing or depleting? These are the questions your soul is now asking. This shift isn't here to make you judgmental. It's here to help you discern, to filter what you allow into your space, and to develop a deeper connection with the invisible language of vibration that underlies everything in the universe. Internal discomfort in social settings. As Gemini energy stimulates more interaction, more conversation, and more intellectual exchange, many spiritually sensitive people will find themselves struggling to remain comfortable in social settings. You may walk into a room, a store, or even a Zoom meeting and immediately feel a desire to leave. It might not make logical sense. Nothing outwardly negative is happening, but your energy field contracts. The sensation can be sudden and sharp. Your heart rate increases, your breathing changes, and a subtle tension fills your chest or gut. This isn't anxiety or irrational avoidance. It's your intuition responding to energetic misalignment. Social masks, such as smiling when you don't feel like it, engaging out of politeness, or faking interest in small talk, become increasingly difficult to maintain. These once manageable tasks now feel energetically heavy, even harmful. The world teaches us to override these feelings for the sake of being nice or polite. But the Gemini season insists on energetic honesty. The contrast between inner truth and outer expression becomes unbearable. You may start to realize just how much energy you've been spending keeping others comfortable while neglecting your own alignment. In this season, social discomfort is not a weakness, it's a diagnostic tool. It shows you where your soul no longer resonates, where your frequency is being disrupted, and where your presence is being drained. When your system screams, "Get out," it's not being dramatic, it's telling the truth. You are not obligated to remain in spaces that demand the sacrifice of your energy. The more you honor these inner nudges, the more empowered and energetically sovereign you become. You are being called not just to see the misalignment, but to choose something different. From burnout to soul guidance. During Gemini season, there's an invisible but potent pressure to be on all the time. Talk more, engage more, create more, share more. The world begins to hum with activity and external expression, and for those attuned to subtle energy, this can quickly become overwhelming. Sensitive souls may find themselves hitting a wall of emotional exhaustion, not because they've physically overexerted themselves, but because their internal compass is being ignored. Burnout doesn't always come from doing too much. It often comes from doing things that aren't aligned with your true rhythm. You might notice yourself withdrawing from group chats, avoiding your inbox, or skipping events you once looked forward to. And while this might seem like avoidance or laziness on the surface, it's actually a deeper call, your soul's whisper asking you to come home to your truth. This discomfort you're feeling isn't just emotional fatigue, it's the friction between the truth of your inner world and the demands of an outer world that prizes constant output. Sensitive individuals are not here to compete in a system built on noise and speed. You're here to feel, to tune in, to bring depth to a world that's often fixated on surface-level communication. So if you feel like you can't keep up, that's not a failure. It's a sign that your energetic blueprint is guiding you toward a more aligned path. Gemini's rapid pace can feel chaotic unless you're consciously choosing what you engage with. Stepping back, turning off notifications, taking time alone, these are not forms of disconnecting, they are forms of divine protection. You are being rerouted from burnout to guidance, from noise to knowing. Every moment you honor that pull toward stillness, you realign with your soul's original instructions. Recognizing the inner voice. There will be moments in the coming days where you feel an unexplainable urge to cancel a plan, close a tab, end a conversation, or simply sit in silence, and those moments are sacred. In a culture that constantly pushes forward motion and visibility, Choosing silence can feel like rebellion. But this urge to withdraw, to pull your energy inward, is not laziness, avoidance, or flakiness. It's intuition. It's your soul sending you precise signals, asking you to stop long enough to hear its wisdom. When the mind is spinning and the world is buzzing, the soul speaks not through logic but through feeling. That tightness in your chest? That sudden wave of tiredness? Is it strange knowing that something feels off? These are not random, they are guidance in action. The more you listen, the clearer your inner voice becomes. Gemini season, for all its chatter and movement, offers a hidden gift, the ability to recognize the contrast between external noise and inner truth. While the collective is busy reacting, posting, explaining, and engaging, you are invited to practice the sacred art of restraint. The voice of your intuition is quiet, not because it lacks authority, but because it doesn't need to compete. It simply waits for you to pause and listen. When you start honoring these quiet messages, by saying no, by leaving early, by choosing stillness over stimulation, you begin to anchor yourself in a higher timeline. One where your energy is not up for negotiation. In this space, silence isn't emptiness, it's a portal. It opens the door to divine clarity, to soul-level recalibration, to the truth that no one else can speak for you. The world may offer advice, but only your inner knowing can offer direction. Turning inward as strength. In a society built on constant doing, the act of turning inward can be misinterpreted as weakness, avoidance, or apathy. But in reality, it takes tremendous strength to step out of the current, especially when everyone else is swimming in the opposite direction. During this Gemini season, one of the most radical and empowering acts you can take is to do nothing consciously. To not reply immediately. To not jump into the next conversation. To not explain your stillness to anyone. In the spiritual realm, stillness is not stagnation, it is sovereignty. Choosing silence, choosing solitude, choosing not to respond to every impulse or ping is an act of reclaiming your energetic rhythm. You are not meant to match the world's pace. You are meant to move in alignment with your soul's own divine timing. There is a sacred kind of power in restraint, in observation, in choosing to hold your energy instead of scattering it. This inward turning is not about escape, it's about deepening. You are being invited to reconnect with the original pulse of your being, the rhythm that existed before you learned to perform, to please, or to prove. This season will test your ability to sit in that space without trying to fill it. The more you honor your internal rhythm, the more magnetic you become, not because you're doing more, but because you're radiating from a place of wholeness. People may not understand your silence, but your soul doesn't need to be understood, it needs to be felt. And when you honor that, you reclaim not only your energy, but your power. Spiritual awareness deepens. One of the most misunderstood aspects of spiritual growth is the need to withdraw. When you're in a deep period of energetic transformation, your system naturally starts to pull away from outer stimulation. You may find yourself craving more time alone, spending less time on social media, or feeling less interested in superficial conversation. This withdrawal is not depression, it's sacred recalibration. You're not pulling away from life, you're pulling inward to reconnect with a deeper source. Gemini energy activates the mental field, which can easily become overloaded. In order to maintain spiritual clarity, the soul often asks for silence, solitude, and simplicity. And this doesn't mean you've failed to thrive in the world, it means you've risen above it long enough to feel what's true. As you begin to align with your personal energetic rhythm, the contrast between collective time and soul time becomes undeniable. You may no longer resonate with certain routines, communities, or even creative pursuits that once felt aligned. That's because you're shifting frequencies. And when you shift frequencies, your reality begins to restructure itself. You start stepping off the treadmill of collective momentum and into the spiral of soul-led timing. This isn't regression, it's evolution. You are learning to live from a space that honors your internal cycles, not external expectations. This level of spiritual awareness may require more boundaries, more rest, and fewer explanations. But in return, you receive clarity, energetic sovereignty, and the sacred gift of living in alignment with your own cosmic blueprint. The desire to be alone is not loneliness, its resonance with your soul's call for deeper integration. Physical and mental symptoms. As Gemini activates the mental and nervous systems, the body begins to mirror this energetic stimulation in very real, physical ways. You may notice symptoms like pressure in the chest, shallow breathing, tingling in the arms or hands, racing thoughts, twitching muscles, or sudden bursts of energy followed by deep fatigue. These are not just physical anomalies, they are energetic overloads manifesting in the physical vessel. Gemini rules the lungs, arms, and nervous system, which means the subtle energy body is now undergoing an intense recalibration. Insomnia, restlessness, jitteriness, or a sensation of being buzzed or wired without reason are common experiences. These symptoms are not necessarily signs that something is wrong, they are invitations to slow down, ground yourself, and release energies that are not yours to carry. It's vital to understand that your body is not betraying you. It's speaking to you in the only language it knows. The tension, the discomfort, the sleepless nights, they're not punishments, they're messages. You are processing more than your own energy right now. You are filtering the collective static, absorbing unspoken emotions from others, and navigating a rapidly shifting energetic grid. This requires compassion, hydration, grounding, and a willingness to listen to your body's cues. Don't bypass these sensations with logic. Instead, meet them with reverence. Give your body the rest, nature, movement, or quiet it asks for. These symptoms are not to be feared but honored, as sacred signals of your ongoing spiritual upgrade. Closing wisdom. As you move through this energetic transition, remember this one truth. You are carrying energy that was never meant to be yours. Whether it's the weight of collective fear, the noise of other people's thoughts, or the expectations projected onto you by society, you are not obligated to hold it. The discomfort you feel is not a personal weakness. It is your body's sacred intelligence alerting you that something is out of alignment. During times like these, external advice, even from well-meaning voices, can feel disconnected from your inner knowing. That's because no one outside of you can speak the language of your soul as fluently as your body can. When something feels off, it is off. You don't need validation for your intuition, you need to trust it. This transition is not about doing more, fixing yourself, or pushing through. It's about softening into awareness, listening more deeply, and honoring the inner shifts taking place. Your value is not determined by how visible or productive you are. Your worth lies in your ability to stay present with yourself, even when the world asks you to abandon that presence. You are not falling behind. You are falling in alignment. The more you release what doesn't resonate, the more space you create for what truly does. So take the silence. Take the stillness. Take solitude. Not because you're escaping, but because you're arriving at yourself.